So hello everyone, in this video we are going to discuss about the external or peripheral communication interfaces. External or peripheral communication interfaces. These are used for external communications of the embedded system, that is a communication of different components present on the system, which are the external or peripheral component devices. The common examples for the external interfaces are RS-232, Universal Serial Bus USB, IEEE 1394, the firmware, and the infrared IRDA, and the Bluetooth communications, Wi-Fi, Zigbee, and the general packet radio series we are seen. So general packet radio services, GPRS communications. These are the external communications we are using in embedded system designing. So first one is RS-232 and RS-485. These two are the RS-232 and the RS-485. These two are the uh, full duplex asynchronous serial communication interfaces. Asynchronous full duplex communication interfaces. So RS-232 is recommended as the standard number. 232 is a revision C from the Electrical Industry Association. Electrical Industry Association. It is a legacy full duplex wired asynchronous serial communication interface. This RS-232 is a wired communication, not a wireless communication device. This RS-232 device is a wired communication device to communicate external devices to the your controller or a processor or your embedded systems. So this RS-232 is extend the UART communication signals from external data communication. So UART uses the standard transistor logic or CMOS logic. Logic high corresponds to the bit value and the logic low corresponds to the bit value 0. For the bit transmission, where RS-232 follows the EIA standard for bit transmission. As per EIA standard, the logic 0 is representing with the voltage between plus 3 volts and the plus 25 volts, and the logic 1 is representing the voltage between minus 3 and minus 25 volts. Is EIA standard, the logic 0 is known as a space, the logic 1 is a mark. This RS-232 interface defines the various handshaking and the control signals for communication apart from the transmitting and receiving signals. This in the data communications. So RS-232 supports the two different types of connectors, namely DB9 and the DB25. DB9 and DB25. The DB9 indicates 9 pin and the DB25 indicates 25 pin connector. In the DB9, you have to see the DB 9 pin controllers. Pin number 3 indicates in the transmitting and the pin number 2 indicates in the receiving. Pin number 7 indicates request to send. Pin number 8 indicates the clear the set, and the pin number 6 indicates the data set ready. The pin number 5 indicates in the ground pin, and the pin number 1 indicates data carrier direct, and the pin number 4 indicates data terminal ready, and the pin number 9 indicates a ring indicator. So these are the pin number 1 to 9 dB and 9 pins. Majorly you are using the similar data communication in the full duplex wired communication. We are using RS-232 and RS-485. So coming to the next one, Universal Serial Bus USB. The Universal Serial Bus USB is a wired high-speed serial bus for data communication. The first version of USB is USB 1.0 was released in 1995 and was created by the USB core group members to consisting of Intel, Microsoft, IBM, Digital and Norton Telecom. The USB communication system follows the standard topology, which is USB host. At the center, one or more USB peripheral devices. USB hosts are connected to it. So USB 1.0 is first implemented wired. So data transfer, wired data transfer between controller to the external devices, which is very fast. So that is upgrading of USB 2.0 host, which supports the connections up to 127, including the slave peripheral devices and the USB host. USB device is a connection. USB transmits the data in the packet format. Each data packet has standard format. The USB communication is a host initiated one. The USB host contains the host controller, which is responsible for controlling the data communications. So the USB host contains the host controller, which is responsible for controlling the data communication, including establishing the connectivity. Establishing the connectivity. The connectivity is also most important with the USB slave devices. The packetizing and the formatting the data packet. There are three different standards for implementing the USB host control interface, namely Open Host Control Interface and the Universal Host Control Interface. These are the standards we are using in USBs. So majorly USB Universal Serial Bus to transmitting very fastly. So coming to the next one, IEEE 1394. It's a firmware. IEEE 1394 is a wired isochronous high-speed serial communication bus. It is also known as High Performance Serial Bus (HPSB). This research on 1394 was standard by the Apple. In 1985, the standard for the was contained by the IEEE. The implementation of this available in the various players, which is a different names you are using. In 1934 standard, in 1394 standard has involved a lot from first version of IEEE 1394 to 1995, released in the 1995, to the recent version of IEEE 1394 in the 2008. It is released. 1395 released in 1394 was released in 2008 June. See, 1394 standard supports a data rate of 400 to 3200 megabits per second. It transmitting the data per second. It transmits 400 to 3200 megabits, means it is a very faster. So in this IEEE 1394 standard one is first. It is a it consisting of 4 pins, 6 pins, and total 9 pins. 3 configuration is a 4 pin connector, 6 pin connector, and 9 pin connectors are there. So transmitting the data and receiving the data purpose. So next one, infrared data. It is a half duplex communication device, which is a straight based wireless technology for data communication between devices. This is a wireless communication device between your controller or your system to the other devices with wireless networking of duplex communication. So in this, the remote control of your TV DVD players. Example for this one is TV remote controllers we are using. So you have to sending the signals from half duplex remote to your TV. It controls the TV controlled by the remote, not control remote controlled by the TV. So this half duplex communication is there. So IRDA communication involves transmitting unit for transmitting the data over IR, and the receive the data. Infrared light emitting diode LED is a IR source for the transmitting. At the receiving end, photodiode act as a receiver. Both transmitter and receiver unit will be present in each device. Supporting the IRDA communication for the bidirectional data transfer, such as IR units are known as transceiver. Certain devices like TV remote control always requires the unidirectional communication, so they contain either the transmitting or receiver unit. The remote control is using for the TV. This is about the infrared data communication. It's a wireless communication device. Next one is Bluetooth. So Bluetooth is a low cost, low power, short range wireless technology. This is also wireless communication device. Bluetooth is a low cost and low power, short range technology. The data and the audio communication files. So Bluetooth is the first proposed by the Ericsson in 1994. Bluetooth operates in the 2.4 gigahertz of the radio frequency in the spectrum. It is operating in the 2.4 gigahertz of the radio frequency in the spectrum. Frequency hoping the spread spectrum The frequency hopping spread spectrum FHSS technique for the communication literally supports the range of 1 Mbps to 24 Mbps. It range of approximately 30 to 100 feet. Maximum it is using for 30 to 100 feet communication. Majorly this one is using. The Bluetooth standard specification is a minimum requirement that is Bluetooth device must supporting for the specific usage scenario. The generic access profile GAP defines the requirement for the detecting the Bluetooth device and the establishing the connection with it, and the other specific user profiles are based on the GAP. The serial port profile SPP for the serial data communication, file transferring FTP for the file transferring between devices. So profile SPP for the serial data communication, file transfer profile FTP for the transmitting between devices, human interfacing device HID supporting the human interfacing devices like keyboard and the mouse for the examples. So power Bluetooth peripherals like fitness devices, Bluetooth pressers, heart rate monitors, etc. These are using different applications. This is about the Bluetooth. This is also wireless communication device, data transfer and communication device with 30 to 100 feet distance. This is using. So next one is a Wi-Fi. Next one is a Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi or a wireless fidelity is a popular wireless communication technique for the networked communication of the devices. So Wi-Fi follows the IEEE 802.11 standard. Wi-Fi is an initiated a network communication, and it supports the internal protocol IP based communication, internet protocol based communication. So this is a very popular wireless communication nowadays. We are using the Wi-Fi with the standard of IEEE 802.11. So commonly each device identifying the IP address with a unique each device has a network. It is a network based one. Each network has a separate IP address. The IP address based communication, the data transfer between IP address to address communication. This Wi-Fi routers is responsible for the resetting the access to the network, accessing the IP address to the device of the network, routing data packets to the internet devices to the network. Wi-Fi enabled devices contain the wireless adapter to transmitting and receiving the data in the form of radio signals. The data in the form of transmitting the receiving in the form of radio signals. The radio spectrum, and they are coexisting with other ISM board devices with like Bluetooth. It's like Bluetooth. So Wi-Fi network means we have to connect the Wi-Fi router is connecting with an IP, internet protocol, with the internet protocol. So IP address is dividing with the host. When the IP address is accepting the data transmitting in the air form, then after one Wi-Fi router is connecting with the more number of devices using the one secure password to connect the data and the transmitting the signals. So this is about the Wi-Fi technology. Nowadays everyone using mostly popular using in the wireless communication technology, that is a Wi-Fi networking. Majorly this is using in the networking. Next one is a Zigbee. So Zigbee is also a low power, low cost wireless network communication protocol based on the IEEE 802.15.4. It is -2006 standard. So Zigbee is a tracked for the low power, low data rate, and the secure application for wireless personal area networking. So Zigbee specification supports a robust mesh network consisting of a multiple nodes. This networking standard makes the network to message to the travel to the number of different paths and get the one node another. So mesh topology. Majorly in the Zigbee communication we are using the mesh topology. So Zigbee controller or the network controller, the Zigbee technology. Each Zigbee device falls under the one by one following the Zigbee device category, that is Zigbee coordinator or the network coordinator, the Zigbee router or the function of the device FFT, Zigbee any device, and a reduced function device RFD. So these are the majorly using in the Zigbee. Zigbee also one of the low power, low cost wireless network device. So we are using for the more than the distance is 100, more than 100 meters and 100 feet, less than 100 meters. So this is another technology, advanced technology for the Bluetooth. The drawback of the Bluetooth is very short range of communication compared to the Bluetooth, as it is some of the long range of communication we are using. So next one, last and final one, general packet radio services, GPRS. So general packet radio services, 3G, 4G and LTE other cellular communication techniques are transmitting data over the mobile communication networks. We are using in the mobile communication formats, we are using the GPRS technology. So in this one, in this mobile communication network, the GSM and CDMA dataset packets GPRS communication. These transmitting devices splits into data into the several related packets. At the receiving end, the data is reconstructed by the combination of received data packets. The GPRS supports a theoretical maximum transfer of 171.2 kbps per second, kilobytes per second. The data speed is transmitting speed is second. In the GPRS communication, the radio channel is connected shared between the several users. Instead of dedicating a radio channel to a cell phone user, the GPRS communication device the channel into the 8 times slots, the transmitting data over the available channels, dot dividing into 8 channels and transmitting the data. So this is about the general packet radio services, majorly 2G, 3G, 4G, nowadays 5G also available. So this is majorly the GPRS communication or the GPRS data transferring is using in the mobile communication technology. So these are the main communication for external communication device types we are using in the embedded system applications. So up to this is about the onboard and personal communications. Thank you.